Every unforgettable journey starts long before the plane takes off. Behind every perfect photo, every hidden cafe, and every smooth border crossing, there's a plan. From picking the perfect destination and finding the best flight deals, to mapping the route and uncovering local secrets. This is how I craft travel experiences that feel effortless, meaningful, and unforgettable. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by travel planning, this is for you. Every journey begins long before a bag is packed or a plane takes off. For me, travel isn't just about visiting new places. It's about feeling alive in a different rhythm, chasing the unknown, and surrendering to a world I've never walked through before. But behind the magic and spontaneity is a ritual, an intentional process I follow every time I decide to go somewhere new. It's not about ticking off landmarks or squeezing itineraries into tight schedules. It's about building a meaningful experience from the ground up, slowly, thoughtfully, and step by step. 10. The spark that starts it all. It never begins in the way you expect. Sometimes it's a late-night scroll when I stumble across a photo of golden cliffs plunging into the Adriatic. Other times, it's a friend's story about riding scooters through the alleys of Chiang Mai or sipping mint tea in a windswept Marrakech Raya. A destination chooses me before I choose it. My imagination runs wild, painting scenes I've never seen, meals I've never tasted, streets I've never walked. The rest of the process, the planning, the strategy, all stems from that single flicker of wanderlust. It is in that moment that a place becomes more than a point on a map. It becomes a dream waiting to be turned into reality. 9. The deep dive begins. Once I'm hooked on a destination, I fall headfirst into research. Not surface-level guides or top 10 lists. I go deeper. I read traveler blogs written late at night after a life-changing trip. I search for stories from locals who reveal their city's secrets. I scroll through forums where people share real-time advice, warnings, and wonder. I want to understand how people live there, what makes them smile, what rhythms guide their daily lives. Because I believe when you understand a destination beyond the guidebooks, you travel through it differently. You arrive with respect and curiosity, not assumptions. 8. Choosing the right time, for the place and for me. Travel timing isn't just about weather. Do I want calm or chaos, heat or coolness, solitude or festival noise? I check the climate, yes, but also the cultural calendar. Harvest festivals, sacred weeks, national holidays, rainy seasons. I look for shoulder seasons, the in-between moments when places exhale and reveal their true self. I also check in with my own life. When do I have space to be fully present? When can I leave behind my routines and truly arrive somewhere else? Matching the rhythm of a place to the rhythm of my own life is a kind of alchemy. It makes all the difference. 7. Budgeting with a purpose. Here, I sit down with reality. But budgeting doesn't kill the dream, it shapes it. I sketch out the big numbers first: flights, stays, local transport. Then come the layers: food, entry tickets, tips, activities, hidden charges. I always overestimate, because it's better to have leftover memories than lingering worries. But I'm not obsessed with saving every coin. I balance splurges with simplicity. Luxury one night, hostel the next. Budgeting isn't about limiting the journey. It's about making room for magic without anxiety. 6. Building the map, sketching the flow. Now the trip begins to take shape, a skeleton made of geography and curiosity. I open up a map, digital and physical, and begin pinning the places that made my heart jump during research. A hidden cove, a tiny village, a bookstore tucked into a hillside. I start estimating travel times between stops. I design days with breathing room, time for coffee under a tree or a random detour, sparked by the sound of music down an alley. I don't fill every moment. I leave spaces blank for life to surprise me. 5. Booking with purpose. It's time to lock in the essentials, but every booking I make has to mean something. Flights come first, and I always try to fly with intention. I use flexible date tools and local airline websites. I look for soul, an historic guest house, a quiet air in a neighborhood full of life, a jungle cabin with no Wi-Fi, and 100 new sounds. I read reviews like stories, scanning for words like "host was kind" or felt like home. I believe where you sleep changes how you dream, and every stay should add to the story. 4. Designing the itinerary like a living story. By now, the trip is alive in my mind, but I want it to breathe in real life too. I begin sketching an itinerary that flows like a story. I group activities by vibe: a quiet museum after a long hike, a vibrant market after a sleepy morning. I know that the best days often come from not following the plan. I organize loosely, a few anchors each day, then let the rest unfold. I even plan for rain, for fatigue, for spontaneous friendships. An itinerary isn't a prison, it's a path with room to dance. 3. Preparing myself, not just the plans. Now I shift inward. The destination is ready, but am I? I start learning phrases in the local language. Not just hello and thank you, but real things. This is beautiful. What do you recommend? Tell me your story. I read about customs, history, sensitivities. I download the offline maps, make copies of documents, write down emergency contacts. I unplug from routines, step back from digital noise. I start looking at the world with open eyes again, because soon I'll be in a place that sees life differently. And I want to be ready not just to see, but to truly feel it. 2. The art of packing light and smart. Packing is an art form I've learned over time. I used to overdo it. Now I travel lighter and smarter. I pack clothes that layer, colors that match, shoes that last, fabrics that breathe. I choose one bag, maybe two, and leave space in both. I bring a journal, a small camera, a good book, and something that feels like home. I always carry a tiny pouch of first aid, because it's not just about adventure, it's about being ready for anything. But most of all, I pack with intention. Every item in my bag should have a purpose or bring me joy. I pack not just for where I'm going, but for who I want to be when I get there. 1. The takeoff and the moment the real trip begins. Then it arrives, that quiet moment at the departure gate. The airport hums around me, but inside I'm still. The journey is no longer a plan. The flight may be long, but the distance feels like nothing, because my soul is already halfway across the world. I breathe in the strange, familiar scent of airports, the feeling of movement, of anticipation, of surrender. I board the plane with more than a passport and a backpack. I carry a story waiting to be written. The planning ends here. The adventure begins now. Planning a trip doesn't have to feel impossible. With the right steps and a little bit of obsession, it becomes part of the adventure. If this guide helped you or gave you new ideas, make sure to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments how you plan your trips. And remember, the journey begins the moment you start imagining it. So go ahead, start planning your next adventure and make it your best one yet.